I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Please note all members are present except Jackie. Item C, approval of the agenda.
To approve the agenda as presented.
Second.
I'm gonna table that for just a second. On the,
Never mind.
sorry, on item H, this is just gonna be discussion tonight since all board members are not present. We'll have to have a special meeting for the budget. We'll just discuss it tonight, but then we'll have to figure out a special meeting for when all members can be here.
If you'd like, we can get a date set up earlier, the better. For Levi's sake, all that kind of stuff.
How long does it have to be published before we can approve it?
Well, we have to have it in 10 days before the hearing, to the paper 10 days before the hearing.
And we always allow for a little extra time.
Sure.
Like to be a week ahead of that if we can.
Yeah.
So what is that date?
Oh, whatever, that second.
I
Second
think
Monday.
I think it's the 8th. It's the September 8th.
September 8th.
So we would have to,
12 days or something.
and I have to have it to the paper by Tuesday for the Friday print.
If we could do like a, I mean, if you have your discussion tonight, you could do a vote to publish whatever, maybe even, I don't know what you guys think about a Tuesday morning or something, or even a Tuesday evening. We need to get with it.
Well, I mean, what's Jackie's availability
And we-
gonna be?
Yes.
And we all have to be
Well, you can do it
present.
remotely. You could phone in.
You're saying next Tuesday or tomorrow Tuesday?
I'm sorry, next Tuesday. That's a pretty good question.
Tomorrow is all back to school.
No, I'm sorry, next Tuesday.
Understood. Thank you.
When do you leave, Drew?
Tuesday.
Tuesday of next week.
Well, Monday, we could probably work it.
Yeah, that'd be the 18th.
Yeah.
I can do that. Knowing I don't know, knowing the topic, I think it would be great for all of us to be here for it. So.
Well, you're also eliminating the possibility of a 3-3, and 3-3 is.
Right, which we had last year, and
3-3.
it was very, very similar situation. So I mean, I'm open for next Monday if it would work for you.
I'm texting Jackie right
Yeah. In the morning or evening or what?
now.
And I can do Tuesday morning.
Well, it's whatever you guys want to do.
Are you leaving town?
Yeah.
So that would be difficult to.
Well, I mean, I'm not leaving until like probably Tuesday at noon.
Whatever you.
So Monday or Tuesday morning, whichever one works.
Monday morning or evening or Tuesday morning.
Well, I just texted.
Or,
Jackie
yeah, whatever.
to see if that would work. We had a motion to approve it with changes.
Move as such.
Second. Move the second to approve consent agenda with changes. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say no. Motion passed 6. Comments from the superintendent?
We're off to a flying start. Convocations last Thursday. There was a couple of board members were there. Only one of them had a name on the screen though. So I didn't see that you got your activity passed.
I called your bluff on that one.
It wasn't mine. It was Levi's. But
Thrown under the bus.
anyway, both of them were there. I do appreciate that. It was a good day with teachers. We had training on Friday, which is a lot to do coming back, but really they did a great job with it. They did another session of high impact instruction practice strategies and followed that up with Alice training, refresher for some and information for others. So pretty good start to the week, and it all gets going this week.
Let's say your baby song. That's
Yeah.
exciting to hear.
Thank you.
And
Exciting.
also like to welcome John. I don't know if everybody's met John West, who's this new spender. Okay. Consent agenda.
thing I would point out, item number 6 are a couple classified positions. I'd like to just, if we can, put those on consent. Generally, a lot of times we start, well, for example, Whitney's already started. And then Sarah will begin tomorrow. So I would like to just, if you're good with that, just keep those on consent just for speediest sake. You'll see it ahead of time. You can always have the right to move something to executive session.
Move to approve the consent agenda as presented.
Second.
Moved and second to approve the consent agenda. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say no. Motion passed 6-0. Levi, do we have comments from the public?
Yes, we have two. First one I've got on top here is Virgil Heller.
Okay. I'm gonna read this real quick. The Hiawatha School Board welcomes public comment. Generally, the school board members will not respond to public comment during the meeting. Time, each speaker will get up to 2 minutes. Board clerk will time it and sound a buzz when their time is over. If there's a large number of speakers, the board may limit the time or comments allowed. The board president may ask the groups with the same special interest to appoint a spokesperson. All comments should address a matter related to Hiawatha Public Schools. The school board will not hear public comment that involves a complaint about an individual staff member, a personal action, a student disciplinary matter, a complaint about an individual student, or pending litigation. School board expects each speaker to provide their full name, be curious, models for the students, and how one can respectfully disagree with others' views. Speakers will address their comments to the entire school board and not one individual board member, nor to the superintendent, to a staff member, nor to the audience. Speakers will not engage in personal attacks. Speakers will present their comments from the public setting area provided for. Okay, Virgil?
I got two things. Number one, I was asked to come and I think you've already taken care of this now, to cooperate with the county so that we can attend both of the meetings on revenue neutral stuff in the budget. So again, if you haven't taken care of that, actually it's pretty settled. I think you have a meeting that's scheduled years in advance and so on. They know what they're working with. So since they meet in the morning, they should, if we're going to make an adjustment, they could easily do that. So, but at least maybe comment to them that you're going to have your meeting here and you work around it. So the thing I have on my personal note is just being nosy. Don't know anything about it, but in one of the meetings, 2 or 3 meetings ago, you come up with something called you hired a company for facility evaluation or something. Am I right on that? I know the old board come up with a 9-year plan or 10-year plan or something. I've heard you reference that before in board meetings. And I think we got the bleachers in the gymnasium refinished because it was 6 years out on the list and they, hadn't been refinished yet. So they refinished them, or you refinished them, that sort of thing. So now on this facilities evaluation thing, well, let me back up another step. Having not seen the list of what's on the program that the board come up with 10 years ago or whatever, I kind of thought there was something about addressing maybe an elementary school. And there has been some interest in trying to get the elementary school up on the other grounds and so on. I don't know if there's any interest here or not, but it's in the pipeline out there. So I'm just wondering if this facilities evaluation thing is just maybe I can call it independent. Okay. So I just didn't want you to, since I don't know anything about it, I wish you'd address that if, it's in the background. So yeah, thank you. Thanks.
Okay.
The other one was from John West.
Oh,
It's me. I just wanted to say hi to everybody. Come and introduce myself. My name is John West. I'm originally from the Neodesha. Last few years, I was superintendent adoption in the Midway, and I'm the SPED director here in Brown County. So I just wanted to say hello.
thank you.
But maybe you can.
I was gonna say, you can call me if you'd like. You can give me a holler. What's up?
Sure.
Okay.
Ron, I'm sorry, but I didn't realize we were supposed to sign in or have a request made to be able to speak.
Yes. Yeah. Get the, come in early and sign in and give Levi what you're signing in for, what you're talking about.
So I still can't do that.
Not tonight, no. Free from the next meeting, but not tonight. Item H, budget presentation.
It's like a minute here to get plugged in, so bear with me. All right. All right, I'm gonna do my best to walk everybody through a couple different scenarios regarding budget proposal, okay? All right, hey, success, all right. All right, so budget 26, remember it's 25, but it's fiscal year 26, we started fiscal year in July 1. Okay. I always put pictures of students at the front because that's who's at the forefront here. It's always about the students. When we look at crafting a budget and giving you some proposals on things to look at, it's always about the needs of the schools, about the needs of staff and faculty and how many of those folks we need. It's about facility needs, namely you're talking capital outlay there. It's about addressing board goals, and most importantly, it's about addressing student learning. A couple of things to remember. Two things to think about. Remember, I always say that the budget is merely a projection. And when is it that we find out how much money we have to work with? Yeah, May at the end of the year. And it makes a lot of sense, doesn't it? So what you're going to have when you do agree to a budget is a projected budget. And if you look back in previous years, like you look at a Code 99, you'll see last year's actual. I assure you, and this is true for every previous year, the actual is less than the projected. Can the actual actually be more than the projected? Possibly, if you had a large influx of students came in before September 21 and you were going to get counted for them, you might republish. And then it would be larger, but then you're republishing budget and all that. So basically, no. The answer is typically no. We do create a little bit. When I say fluff, that sounds like the wrong thing to use. We're not looking to spend more money. What we will do, we estimate our student enrollment and full-time equivalency, and we will create a little bit of buffer. Otherwise, let's say the buffer of 5 kids is kind of a typical thing that we look at. If those 5 kids don't come to us, that money doesn't ever happen anyway, okay? But if the 5 kids do come to us, we wouldn't have to go republish a budget for that. So you always have that little bit of space in there. We always do that, and that's why every year it comes. One, nobody here is good enough to exactly guess how much the enrollment's going to increase or decrease each year. So just keep in mind, we're talking about projected. Actual typically always comes in a little bit less than that, depending on the year is going to equate to how much less we're talking about. All right. So biggest piece of that, of course, is the general fund. Okay. And the general fund, it's down at the bottom, it says BSAPP. It's the base state aid per pupil. So the formula is the base state aid per pupil and how many pupils you have, your full-time equivalency. So that's your enrollment. It's about your assessed valuation, and it's about the mills as well in that. But in Kansas, the law is 20 mills. Every school district assesses 20 mills. It goes to Topeka, it goes through an equalization factor, and comes back to the district that way. Otherwise, I would suggest that probably Burlington, Kansas, with that tax base, if you know what's in Burlington, Kansas, with the nuclear plant, is significantly different than Galena, Kansas, or Blue Valley in Johnson County is much, much different than Blue Valley over in Randolph County, okay? And 20 mills wouldn't raise much over in Randolph County compared to what 20 mills would raise in Blue Valley, Johnson County. So that's how the equalization factor works out. Everybody by law, 20 mills. So base state aid per pupil goes up. Can we be revenue neutral in general? No, impossible. So, all right. So this is pretty straightforward. The base state aid per pupil last year was 5,378. This year it's 5,615. That is based on the consumer price index for the Midwest region. The formula is used for that, and that's all part of the school finance formula and law at this point. So, okay, so that's general fund. Pretty cut and dry there. All right, so there's some factors that come into play when you're looking at your budget, and biggest are these three things right here. So we've already talked about the base state aid for people. There's that increase I just talked about right there. Now, enrollment, okay, you can kind of tell last year our actual was 837.8. I'm going to say probably we estimated more like 845 or something when we projected that budget. But the actual came in at 837.8. So there was a few students less than what we had actually budgeted for. So that's just what it came in. This year, and we use that to kind of figure out where we think we're going to be, and we have a decent idea what the kindergarten class is going to be and what the senior class just left is, and the rest of it's a little bit of a guessing game to some degree. You get whatever intel you can get, but it's never going to be exact. So we base this projected budget on 835, okay? That's down here, the asterisk says project. Okay, and the other one.
Lonnie, would the 26 year be the one that we're working
No,
with for now?
No.
So it actually decreased.
We're predicting, because I know the size of that kindergarten class.
Mhm.
Now, next year, somebody's going to be saying,
No, the assessed valuation went down about $2 million.
yes, I'm sorry, I'm talking about enrollment. Yeah, right. Assessed valuation overall went down about 2 million. Yeah. That's the first time that's happened that I can recall.
Yeah.
So anyway, that's the number, of course, that we deal with. I don't recall when that last happened. It was before I was there. So, and it's not much. I mean, in the scheme of things, that's not much. All right. So those are preliminary factors: assessed valuation, enrollment, base stated aid per pupil. All right. Okay, I've talked a little bit about that. Now we'll go on to this one here. Supplemental general. So this is your LOB, the supplemental general. So the way this budget particularly works is based on a percentage of the general fund. So last year, for example, we were 31%. Okay. This year, I'm going to recommend 31%. Knowing what you know about the general fund, will 31% bring in more or less than last year? More. Brings in more. Okay. So even that same percentage by default, because it's formulaic, by default will bring in more. And then what does that do to your mill? Increase or decrease? Right. Increases. Okay. All right. We'll talk about that one here a little bit too. So state average is 32.3. Okay. I'm recommending 31%. To be honest, that's probably not a sustainable percentage moving forward past this year. I did take some money out of a contingency to do that. Basically, you don't want to keep doing that every year, or you're going to get yourselves in trouble. We had a little cushion, so we were able to do that.
When was the last time we deviated from 31%?
Say it again.
When was the last time we
A couple
deviated
years
from
ago, we
30?
had 32.
Okay.
A couple years ago, we had 32. It was either 2 or 3. It was either, I'm going to say it was 3 years ago.
Okay.
Yeah, 32. Now, that 32%, but looking at assessed valuation and looking at all of that, and looking at the general fund itself, that 32% was likely less dollars than this 31% would be. Okay. So the revenue comes from the based on the percentage adopted and general budget. Just to give you a frame of reference, Prairie Hills is at 33, Nemaha Central 33, South Brown 32.3, that's that state average, okay? And Riverside 32.3. I just tried to get some schools right around here and say here's what those are. Okay. Are there questions about the LOB? If not, well, actually I've got another slide. All right. Gives you a little bit of our history. Our 6-year average has been, this is mils, not percent, okay? 17.23 mils, okay? So last year we were also at 31%, and that was 16.789 mils. This year the recommendation 31% would bring in, or would cost 17.7 4.16 mils. That's a 5.5% increase. Okay.
In mills, not dollars.
Yes, in mils. Yep. Okay. Questions about the LOB? People, it's really called the supplemental general. Everybody calls it the local option budget. All right. Probably the one of more interest right here where you have some discretion in LOB, but it's driven to a great extent by your general fund. Capital outlay is not. The bond and interest is driven by what you owe and the market itself. So capital outlay is driven pretty much here locally. So this board has authority up to 8 mils. That was a resolution done long ago, but the history in this district has never been 8 mils on doing capital outlay 8 mils. Historically, it's been 6. I know I talked with Mr. Severn. He couldn't recall the date, but probably looking at the early 2000s when it was raised to 6. I know I talked with Ian, who's been here, say this 12 years. It had been 6 until we changed it a couple of years ago. All right. So if you remember, FY24, we decreased from 6 mils down to 4.123 mils to try, and we hit a revenue neutral number in capital outlay that year, not
In all of our local budget.
right, local budget we did, right, which is all we would ever have any kind of control over.
Right.
Now, when you see minus $241,000, it's a budget authority. It doesn't necessarily mean that it's $241,000 in cash less than the year before. But if you look, so that's looking back. If you look forward, it does mean there's $241,000 that would have been there maybe if you'd stayed at 6. But we'll just call that kind of budget authority or the opportunity cost, however you want to look at it. At last year, we increased up. It was, if I recall it, so this number, 5.253, was the median between 4.123 and the 6, if I recall. You went up. Wasn't that it? Didn't we go up? Is that about halfway, Levi?
Yes.
Yeah.
It was halfway in between
Yeah.
4.125 and
There you go.
6.
All right. So the revenue impact was, the budget authority of 114,301, not necessarily the budget cash. But looking at it now, you can kind of look at it either way. This year, I've got 2 things to look at here, kind of option R and option A. So R is the recommended. I'd like us to move back to 6 mils because we have increasing costs that I'll go through here in just a minute. That would be an increase of 0.747 mils in capital outlay. That is an increase of 14.2% in capital outlay. What's the cash end up there? About $102,000. So it'd be an influx of $102,000 into capital outlay. It's partially trying to catch up from the previous years of not having those numbers up here. The alternate would be by splitting the difference again, if you will, Mitch, another splitting of the difference, getting us closer to there. So 5.625 mils, that would equal 0.372 mil increase, which is a 7% increase. Now, that would equate to bringing in $45,319 more. Okay. I'm going to continue on, but before I move further, questions about that one, I'm still going to have another slide about capital outlay, right, coming up next. Well, okay. Oh, all right. Well, I'm not. Does anybody need to go back to that? Or are we good with that? So you have 2 options there to look at. One of them is coming back to 6, and one of them is going to 40 or going to the halfway point. The difference being about about 102,000 of 102 versus 45. One thing to think about there. Repairs, equipment, fuel, all those are costing a lot more. That 45 will be gone sooner than we realize. I have no way to predict how many HVAC units will have to go out. Hopefully, some of the repairs they did as far as the changing the charging more in the appropriate and prescribed manner will take care of some of that. So I have no way truly of knowing that. But anyway, so that's bond or that's capital outlay. Bond and interest, you sometimes have a little wiggle room. We do this year. We've been, and some of that's just market fluctuations, but the The proposed is 6 mills flat, which is a 5.15% decrease in mills. We're governed by what we owe. We need to make sure that we pay this off and when the maturity happens on that bond. We will still do that by going down to 6 mills. We'll have enough cash to make, and we'll still be able to make our payments and close that last bond issue out on time. Okay. So what's the opportunity cost there? In this case, maybe not paying it off 2 months early. That's really about it. So it's not a big giant thing. So it's 0.326 mil decrease in bond and interest. So I'll take that as some good news. And we 28. I don't remember what month in 28.
Oh, 2028 is when it matures, yeah.
I don't remember which one.
Fall sometime.
Yeah, I think it is. All right. So it's almost 3 years from now. All right. When you put those together, this is a little bit convoluted, but we can kind of walk through that. So over here, this is the mills for this year that I'm recommending. Okay. Over here is the alternate one, and then this is comparing to the last 2 years. So I won't have numbers because I'm not recommending for history. No, there's nothing I can do about that. But you will see the difference is right here, capital outlay. So we'll look at the LOB. So versus last year, as I said before, it's a little bit less than a mil increase. Again, that's governed by your general fund. You're looking at the LOB. Compared to 2 years ago, it really isn't as much a difference. Capital outlay, here's the difference. Okay, I'm recommending the 6. The alternate would be the 5.627. On the page because I've got a number right here. All right, so you can look. So the difference in Levi, that shouldn't be in, yeah, capital out. Here we go. 7.47. Sorry about that. So not quite a mil increase. Now, if you'd like to know what the proposed mill would be and what that increase would be for, if you went to the alternative one, it would be 0.972. Okay. Now, Levi, what have I got wrong here?
2.7.
That'd be 4.7. The capital outlay?
Yeah.
I mean,
So this is the correct number. We're going to 6, correct, Levi?
From where we're
from 6 mills,
Yeah.
yes.
What would it be if you went to the alternative one?
5.625 minus 5.253.
I thought you had it on the other page.
0.372.
Or 372?
Yeah.
That's right.
Pretty close. All right. Here's your bond and interest, which we just talked about, represents a little bit of a decrease. Here's your total. Now I'm going to talk to you about that here in just a minute on the total middle. So you've got a couple different options. 49.716 is the total. 49.343, at least the two that I'm prescribing anyway. Mill rate notes. So if you look in your code 99 too, if you dig down deep enough, you'll find the revenue neutral mill rate. So for us to be revenue neutral, we'd have to be at 49.107. Very slightly different number than what I'm proposing. So my recommended mill rate the one that's called recommended represents an increase overall of 0.6 mils. Does that look correct?
Yeah, an increase from the revenue neutral rate.
Yeah, on the revenue
Right.
neutral rate, right. An increase, so it's 0.6 mils more than the revenue neutral rate. The alternative one would be 0.24 mils more than the revenue neutral rate. All right.
Sorry.
Now, when I'm looking at taxpayer income impact, I'm looking at just 415 tax. I'm not looking at the county overall or the total city in there. So I'm just looking at the impact that tax rates would have because of the school district. Okay. So a homeowner over $260,000 home would see an increase of about $40.30 from last year, from $415. I understand we don't exist in a vacuum, but we only control that part of it. It shows a 72.7 increase from 2 years ago. Okay, so it looks a little bit more different from 2 years ago, but that was also a year that we decreased from 6 to 4.123, 122 on the mills. All right. Now this is projected fiscal impact. Maybe a better way to look at that would be fiscal impact on the district. Okay, in other words, revenue. All right, revenue impact, probably that's a better way to put that. So you have the two options here. These are the same on bond and interest, they're the same on LOB. The big difference comes into right here with the capital outlay. So I think I've beat that horse enough. You know where the difference is, it's in capital outlay. One brings you 101 plus, the other one brings you 45 plus. But when you round up, when you put those into the equation overall, the one that's recommended would see an increase of 145,513. The other one is an increase of 89,151. Okay. All right. So this comes from the county. So overall appraised value did, it should not say increase, it decreased, sorry. I'm going to change that. But anyway, let's go back. Yeah, it was a decrease of 2.62. But residential property did increase by 9.95, correct number?
Correct number.
Anybody seen that at all in their house?
Mine personally?
Yeah. Yours might have been more. No, we don't have it yet.
Oh, no, more than that. I thought you meant that I add 10% to my house. No. It just went up.
Well, I probably did a couple of years ago, but not that you see from outside probably. But I just say that on live camera. So, assessed valuation in property, residential property increased. The number is impacted, it is impacted. I'm not saying it's the sole reason, but enhancements, new buildings, things like that do contribute to that. You can kind of see how that spreads out with percentage changes in each of those categories. Probably would not be good to own a lot of vacant property right now. Not a good year to do that, I guess. I don't have any. So. You can see commercials up there. Commercial actually went down a little bit. Mm-hmm. Got agriculture up there going down. You can kind of see. I really don't. Who can tell me what other really what all is involved in other? To me, does that include that they don't pay basically abated property, abated businesses, things like that, tax abatements?
I don't know. There's personal property in there, but I don't know.
Yeah, probably. Yeah.
Yeah,
Probably.
I really
That's
don't know
probably
what that
what it
was.
is.
Well,
Okay. Questions about that? You've got that same information. Now, why do we even need to have more money? Very simply put, payroll. This business is more than anything is about people. Your largest expense by far is people. It's paychecks. It's that. I mean, that's the largest thing that you deal with. Raises in this environment. If you want to keep teachers, I'm lecturing to you guys, and I don't need to lecture to you about that. You understand the world in which we're trying to recruit and keep and retain and all that. Utilities are going up. We caught a break this year, though, on health. We were pretty flat. We actually had a very tiny decrease. So that's something I didn't have to put in here this year. I'm fortunate. We're fortunate about that. Hold on for next year. We'll see what happens. But all I'm working is this year. So we didn't have to deal with that. Utilities, food costs, the OPA contract and things like that, it goes up according to the CPI as well. Fuel and auto parts are really getting more expensive. Fuel, everybody knows what's going on with that. Overall inflation, I think we'll see more impact from tariffs, but I can't predict exactly what that's going to be. Maybe you'll see that in your business as well. But facilities and maintenance needs. So we got really about the bricks and mortar, it's about the equipment, and it's really about the people and sometimes the resources too. But, and the cost of resources have gone up, mainly we're talking tax and equipment for schools, for learning purposes, those do go up. But that's really the justification for that. So really, when trying to create that, really trying to create a budget that's responsible, doesn't utilize any kind of maximum authority or anything like that. But it does represent a decrease in the bond and interest, increase in the LOB, even though the percentage remained at 31, which again, that's a percentage of the general fund. An increase in capital outlay, depending on which one you, or whatever you come up with, for those two that I put up there, are either an increase in capital outlay of 0.747 or 0.372, okay? And it is a mill rate slightly exceeding the revenue neutral rate. Either one of those options is going to be just a slight increase. One's a little bit more modest than the other. But really in doing this, yes, we understand the impact. We don't live in a vacuum. We try to control what we control. But there are realities there, and at the same point in time, I don't want to see us falling behind. We can't always operate and bring in less money and spending more. So we've got to figure out how to balance those a little bit, balance what we bring in, balance what we spend. And so that's what the budget's supposed to represent. So I'm open to questions at this point in time, thoughts and all that. I know you're not going to propose anything for publication. And again, just for the audience, we're not proposing adopting a budget. It would just be to publish, but we're looking at doing that at a later meeting. And then the budget hearing is when all that actually takes place, and that's September 8th. Right.
One quick question.
Sure.
We go from 6 mils to your next plan, 5.625.
Mm-hmm.
What would we have to give up?
Well, that's a good question. I don't have any thoughts of buying other vehicles this year. You're probably looking more at repairs than anything else. I think of HVAC right away. HVAC repairs, just because we have a history of that. But I don't have any giant capital projects in mind at this point in time. Coming around, let's say, what I could see this being is the end of the school year. When we think about things that we need to do, concrete repair work that comes up during the year, you may have to change what you would otherwise do with that. And that's probably what that would be, because you're going to spend close to that in surfacing repairs, whether it's a parking lot or sidewalks, what curbing. Say again?
We've been putting off the high school parking lot.
Yeah, it would probably continue to put that off. Yeah, probably continue. You got a little bit of it done, but you probably wouldn't do the next one. So I guess that's a good way of looking at it. What does that look like? I don't know if that's 45,000. I think that's a little bit more.
Okay, but it might be a chunk, right?
Yeah, be a chunk of it.
So before we get into the discussion on this, you mentioned September 8th, and
Yes.
Mr. Hallauer talked about that as far as the county is concerned. I know that we are locked in to that date. The city is locked in at the same time. Their meeting is 20 minutes before ours. So people would have to, if they want to attend, and if the hearing and so forth, would have to make a choice between that. Would it be possible for us to have an additional, like a special meeting that doesn't conflict with that, to allow patrons to, I mean, not the official hearing. I mean, we'd still have to have that, obviously, but could we have another time so that people wouldn't have to choose to, in order to?
I think the natural opportunity would be the next, if you were going to have another meeting to agree to publish something, that would probably be the likely time to do that.
Okay.
It would be a special meeting, but you always have the ability to allow for patron input on a special meeting, which you can certainly do.
I think that's a fine start to it, but obviously we would be agreeing to publish it at that time. People may not
agree to
have.
publish something.
No, right. But I mean, I think that doesn't allow for people to see it published in paper, become aware of what it is. If there was something that we could do that was close to preceding the regular hearing time, have
know what that would be.
a special meeting, that strictly for that purpose.
But wouldn't you have already?
Okay.
Yeah, maybe I'm not understanding.
Yeah, so you have the approval of the budget, right? And there's a hearing that.
Approval of the budget to publish the budget?
No, what happens on September 8th?
First you have the R&R hearing.
Uh-huh,
Okay, then you have the public hearing at that point in time.
Okay.
And you folks in your regular meeting
right.
is when you make your determination.
Okay, so there we go. The R&R meeting and the budget meeting.
Gotcha.
Can we provide an alternative time? I know we were set to that as the official time. Can we provide a second time because we are in direct conflict with the city, so that people can choose to attend both and have a chance to speak if they so choose?
So you're wanting a time for them to speak outside of the budget hearing?
Correct, because it's in direct conflict with the city, and neither the city nor us can do anything about that at this point.
Would you have a position to go or a position to been against speaking like during that meeting that you're having as a special meeting to do the budget publication agreement?
They wouldn't be able to attend both.
Are you saying like next Monday or whatever?
I'm talking about.
Well, right, but it's a little bit of the cart before the horse in that case, because we will only be deciding on what that budget looks like at that time. It won't have been advertised. It won't be any of the things that are supposed to be considered when the budget is publicized. Then you have this time for basically people to absorb it and so forth. I mean,
I think that'd probably be really a question for the board.
Sure. I mean, so it's possible is what
Have anything you want, but the budget hearing is the instrument in which which allows people to look, one, they look at the proposed budget,
Right.
two, they come to that, and they make, and right, so that's locked in by law, which is your quandary here.
Yeah, it is. And so basically to be able to offer our patrons an alternative time so that they don't have to choose between.
It's really up to what you guys want.
Yeah.
That's really a board decision at that point.
Okay. I think it would be a nice courtesy to our patrons to be able to give them the opportunity. I mean, thankfully it's.
Something like that?
No, that's why I'm asking for us to do it. We like to encourage public comment. You don't have to apply for it 2 weeks in advance. So I don't know if anybody else would be okay with that.
That's your guys' call.
We've already had a hard enough time getting everybody together for a regular board meeting. I don't know how we do a special board meeting. And Jackie did say that she could meet Monday before 10. I don't know if that cutoff is at 10 or should any time before Monday at 10 in the morning.
We'll get you back here, we'll check our
Yeah.
calendars on that. So it's whatever you guys decide you want to do.
Do you think that if you opened up comments for this Monday meeting, don't you think that would hold more weight?
I mean, I think.
If you've already published it, at that point, it's kind of like, what
But that's the whole, that's why we have that hearing in the first place, is to allow people to see look at what's been adopted and then give their comment on it. So I think having that dwell rights, once it's published, that dwell time where it's out in the community for people to take a look at it, that's the whole point. All I'm saying is, this isn't anything strange or different. It's just simply the fact that we have our meeting scheduled conflicting with another taxing entity in the town where the majority of our patrons are, and we're by circumstance we're making them choose between attending one or attending the other just because of the timing. So all I'm saying is, why don't we be good about trying to encourage a chance for our patrons to address the board about this, because since we have the conflict, and give them an alternative time to do so. I know we can't change the official one, but can we give them another option?
You guys do what you.
I don't
think there's illegality or anything.
Yeah.
You guys can figure out what you want to do, then figuring a time to do that. That's really what it is in my calendar.
It'll be before the loading one, like a half hour early, or yeah. I mean, like it say,
I don't know what
at 5 o'clock or
legal,
something.
what is not legal. So I was going to say you start the board meeting at 5:30.
Okay.
Well,
Or isn't that what
You
you're?
would have to have a special.
Have a special meeting at 5:30 to give.
Yeah.
We have to have an R&R meeting, then we have to have a budget meeting.
We have the R&R at 5:50.
The R&R's at 5:50, the budget's at 5:55, I think.
No, the city meeting starts at 5:30. So for example, if we were to say have it at 5 o'clock or something like that.
You would just have to have a special meeting, open and shut
You
that
could
meeting.
call- Right, you could call a special meeting.
Yeah, you just have to keep that
Or whatever.
Yeah.
other hearing.
It wouldn't be an action in the other.
No. I mean, and I don't think that anybody had the intention of trying to force people to choose. But I do think this would be a nice.
When I started here, they didn't used to have meetings on Monday. I swear they had.
I thought it was always second Monday of the month. It was just later.
That's what it was.
7.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ours started at 7, that's what.
So, I mean, people will already be in that mode if they want to attend both. So starting at 5, granted, that makes it a little difficult for some people who work till 5, but if it's going to be difficult for us to schedule a second time, I would say that's better than nothing. And that would at least show that we are making an effort to hear people out.
So let me make sure so first thing, special board meeting to agree to publish a budget. You're looking at Monday. Now a second special meeting, because that's what this would be, on
September 8th.
September 8th at 5.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. If that's agreeable to everybody else, but I would certainly propose that. I mean, maybe it's all to be sitting around looking at each other. I mean, most of the time we are, so.
I hope we'd have a full board that night, considering the gravity of the situation.
Sure.
Yeah, I'm gonna have some. Is that what do you want to do? Is that what you want to do at this point?
I don't know if I could be here by 5. I have an appointment to peak at 3. I don't know how long that will last.
Do we need the full board here to have a special board meeting? If we're not,
You're not acting on anything. There's not.
we're just here as a courtesy to the public.
Mhm. Yeah, that's all we need.
And I mean, I'd certainly take that over not doing one if that's our.
Again, it's the board's call. Just tell Levi what you want to do.
Do I need a motion?
Let me
A nod of
know.
heads will work if everybody nods on that. Otherwise, I'd probably suggest you do a motion for a special meeting. For two, if you're gonna do one special meeting motion, I'd probably do the one you know the exact date on.
Okay.
So,
Well, I guess then I will. Do we ever do motions for special meetings?
I'm done with that. Yes, thank you very much. Do you know the answer to that?
You don't have to.
Okay.
No, but it's just a matter of.
Evergreen, do you guys want to do we're gonna shoot for Monday? Griff, are you good Monday morning? How's it look Monday morning?
What time Monday morning? Do we usually do that?
Well, it's before 10, so as early as possible. You want to go,
9?
I'm fine going 8.
Oh, okay, yeah.
8, we brought kids off.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's, we're good.
Okay.
8 o'clock. For purposes of permission to publish a budget. And then you're looking at another special meeting on the 8th of September at
5
5
p.m.
o'clock.
Yeah.
As simply discussion and paper input.
And I'm sorry, my intent was to get that request out of the way before we started the budget discussion, rather than interrupt it partway through or anything, but.
All right, like I said, I hope when you look at that, you understand we have attempted to do what we can do. We do exist, or we operate in a vacuum. We understand we don't exist in.
So just, I mean, I was just going to say that, I mean, are we still going to discuss this a little bit now? The increase in the discretionary budget part we control, if we just say local budget, is really very modest in my opinion, as far as as far as the impact to the district, it's depending on which one of those capital outlays you look at, either one of those proposals, it's either 3.37% in new money increase in the budget or 2.07%. The bad thing is that there's no winning solutions for everybody in this, because we have this year after year huge increase in residential property that has to be factored into it. So using, and granted, there are some influences of people who have done, additions and so forth. I don't think that probably anybody at the table would say that that's the standard. I mean, I looked up, what this table looks like, and what it has looked like over the last 5 years, because this goes back to 2021 when it really started. The thing is, it's a modest increase with a very immodest cost to our families and our patrons in order to do that. So unfortunately, that 3.37% would cost about 13% increase to homeowners. The 2.7 would be about 12.5%. And I see the look on your face there. So
I'm looking at it, when I factored mine in, just looking at the 415 part, that's the one that I have. So.
okay, well, so if you have,
But overall, yeah.
yeah,
If you look at the other entities.
no, not at all there. So if you start with an increase of 2%, let's say, so it's 1.027, and you multiply that times 1.0995, you get 12.6. So that's that hard thing. That's why I don't particularly like the one slide where it says that you had a $260,000 house and it's a $40 increase, because it's not a $260,000 house the next year. If you use that increase, it'd be actually more like, what did I look it up? $190. The other one would be about $175. So it's nothing that we can do. I want to compliment you guys that put the budget together, because I think it's about as lean as you possibly can be without going backwards. It's formulaic, that it is extremely expensive to 99% of our families that live in the district. And again, it's no one's fault at this table. It's no one's fault in our administration. But you have residential property that's gone up 68% from 25 to 21. And you've got ag land in the same price, which is the other major entity, that's gone down almost 21% in that same amount of time. And so we don't get to choose to increase everybody's stuff by 3% or 5% or whatever. We get the one chainsaw of the mill levy that we set for everything. And when you have half of your tax base that goes up by, let's just say 10%, and half of your tax base that goes down by 10%, what happens when you average plus 10 and negative 10? You get 0. And that's where we've been year after year after year. And there's nothing that we can do about that.
Well, and the largest percentage of that are things we can't do anything about, even in our own. That's general.
Right.
I mean, that's the rule. That's what it is. The bond and interest is locked pretty much. Tiny bit of not consequential.
No, 100%.
So looking at capital, when I look at just difference in looking at the two capital outlay budgets, there's not much of a difference, and certainly not much. Now, when I look at it all together in the scheme of things, I'm looking at things that we can't control. Yeah.
And so, when I say there's no
what general fund is. So
when I say there's no winner here, or there's no good solution, you either have really too low of an increase for the school because it doesn't keep up with inflation, at a cost of too high for the taxpayers, because all of those factors that you said of increasing costs for the district are also increasing costs for families. And, I think in a conversation we've had, what do you take away? What the decision, sounds a little dramatic, but what do we take away from kids? So on the flip side of that is, if we do that, what do we take away from families? So, and this is all true. None of it is right versus wrong, black versus white. This is all just part of it. And unfortunately, this is what we're bound to by the formula that we have, the appraisals that we get, the formula that the state gives us. And so, where I stand right now is, which is the lesser of two evils? Is it a 13% tax increase, or, a flat budget for the school? Neither one of those are winners. And there's very little that we can do to reconcile both of those things. So I'm glad that we don't have to make a decision tonight. I think it's really tough, because I don't think that you can argue that it's a greedy increase as far as dollars to the school by any stretch of the imagination. And I also don't think that you can argue in good faith that double-digit increases in taxes for multiple years in a row is doing right by our patrons either. Those things can both be true, but unfortunately we have to make a decision between them, and that's where we stand. So I do want to. I'm not sure where I stand, but I do want to compliment you guys for making it, like I said, as lean as you can in good faith. Feel like what you're doing with the district.
So I mean, like on the LOB, we're not even at the state average. I mean,
No, but we've been 31, 32 forever.
I mean, the state average is, I mean, that's the mean for the whole state, or below that. And we have to rob Peter to.
You can't make that next year.
Just stay there.
Well, you can go joint next year.
Right. Well, I mean, and of course that's relative to. Now, I would never, ever, and this is getting a little further out in the weeds, but say that we need to get rid of our contingency fund in order to keep taxes down and make ourselves cash poor. That's stupid. That's foolish.
That's foolish.
Yeah. To the little adjustment for this year or whatever, that's fine. We're going from 2.5 months to 2, but I would never say that, no, we're going to keep the mill levy down and make ourselves cash poor. That's dumb. But I don't think that we're facing that right now. So
if you do that year after year,
that's right.
That's what I kind of struggle with, and I agree, and I think we sit here and we try to walk this like fine line of, you don't want to have a bunch of tax increases, nobody does, but then as you sit at this table, you also kind of have to put your business hat on and say, okay, we're running this as a business. What do we need to do to continue to move forward while not taking huge chunks of money, but yet you also can't be going backwards, because then it seems like that snowball gets going down a really bad hill. So, and that's what stinks. The assessed values, they are what they are. Like, we're not making those decisions at this table, and that's what's tough. And that's why I guess I also commend Lonnie and Levi and everybody that worked on this, because you're walking that tightrope. You're walking that tightrope of, I think they were very fiscally responsible in trying to put together something that's going to benefit the schools while also not taking as much as we can out of the taxpayers. And that's tough. I mean, I don't think anybody at this table wants more taxes. I mean, that's just not, but I'm also one that I want the best damn teachers we can get. And I want nice facilities. We don't have to have Taj Mahal and everything, but I want to have a facility that we're proud of when we walk to the schools and drop our kids off. And
well, that's where I guess I think that what was presented was fair. I mean, I don't think it's just crazy one way or the other. I think it's fair. So. Yeah, there's a couple. I mean, part of it is the compounding effect of year over year. I mean, honestly, this isn't sustainable either situation. It's not sustainable for the school, and we're not going to have anybody left. But I don't know what the people that are living on Social Security are going to do. They can't take these kind of tax increases.
And it's not just the Hiawatha.
No, but I will say that I think it's that our increases and our chasm difference between them is more extreme here than in other communities, and we're just dealing with that. I mean, I have to wonder how many other little towns have seen their residential property increase by 70% in 5 years. That's pretty extreme. We can't really do anything about it again. But the difference between us and a business is that a business can't go out and demand that people pay a higher price. They can't go out and demand that people buy more of their stuff. People can't go to their bosses and demand a raise. You can't demand a higher corn price. The school is different because it can. We have this mandate, and if you don't do it, you lose your house, right? So I think we have to be very, very, very cognizant of that we have a greater responsibility and not just say we have to look at it strictly from a business standpoint, because we get to compel our patrons to do what, and I don't think that the average voter probably says, okay, I'm going to vote for you as a board member. You do whatever you want to me. I just want to make sure that the school gets its increase from year to year. So I do think there are some differences. Obviously, we have to make sure that the district stays solvent. But we have to live in balance with our patrons. And I think balance is the key word. Even if we stay flat, even if we don't increase $1 on our local budget, it's still going to be a 10% increase on everybody. So it's just.
But then the school's going way back.
Sure.
Well, versus the families that are going back.
I mean, but I mean, at some point, Ian, you also, I mean, I guess that's what I guess I have a hard time with is we're here as the school board,
Mm-hmm.
and the last thing we want to do is go backwards.
And what does that mean? Having to make some big priorities? I mean, and 99% of our patrons have to do that. They have to prioritize things. Maybe you don't do the new driveway this year or the concrete. Maybe you don't go on the vacation that you want to this year because you have other things that are more important. I mean, I don't think that just because we can do that and we have legal authority to do that means that we get excused from having to make the same type of tough decisions that our patrons do.
I totally understand that. I think honestly, the thing that's probably frustrated me the most in the year and a half or more that I've been on this is the fact that when we go out and take a bid from whoever,
Mm-hmm.
people see school, and I feel like we just get raked over the coals.
Oh, yeah.
And so do I think we can do a better job maybe or try to do something different? Because, I mean, something's got to change. I mean, it's like you said, if you're not taking in more income, then you need to be spending less. Well, how do you do that when you have buildings that our newest building was built in 2000, which is 25 years ago. And going back to the elementary school, which was whenever.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know that every year you're going to have more and more expenses. So either we try to do a better job of those expenses, trying to, I don't know, negotiate better. I don't know how that, I mean, I know how it works in my business, but that's different here.
Yeah.
It's hard when contractors see school, it's hard to just not take that increase. I mean, that's been frustrating for me as I see.
Absolutely agree.
And
there's a premium for any kind of.
There is, and it's I detest that. But I guess that's the thing. Like, what's the solution? Because I guess I'd rather talk about what the solution is, because I think we can do some of both, honestly. But it's tough when you've got the facilities we have, and you just know that things keep costing more and more money. So
right.
That's what's.
Well, and I think my point, because again, this is a modest increase for the school in a vacuum. We talk about what the factors affecting the school are. I think it's important that we also make sure that the patron, that our district families are represented in the conversation, because it's not a 2% or a 3% increase because of this unfortunate valuation chasm that we have in our tax base. It is impactful, and it has been impactful for years upon years now. And I think that it's just important that we remember that as we have the conversation, and that the school needs to live in balance with this community that we're elected to serve. And that means that we might have to be a little more conservative and a little more prioritizing about some of the things we do, just like the families that we rely on to fund this and to attend our schools and so forth. So that's really all I have to say about it now. I think I've circled around enough. So I tend to monopolize, so I'll just be quiet.
Anybody else have anything else to say?
I'd just be echoing pretty much everything everybody's already said.
Yeah.
I think that, yeah, like, both Ian and Griff said, it's a tough decision. Either way you flip the coin. Yeah, just in this couple years I've been in my house, the property taxes have all but doubled, $100 short of doubling. So that definitely hits home. But as Griff and Ian point out, where do you take that from? You maybe just have to make some hard decisions going down the road. Find out where we can try and cut back some spending or save some money.
And I get that, but sometimes some of those things we've been kicking the can for a long time that.
Yeah.
And then the whole HVAC at the elementary school, we don't know what that cleaning hopefully helps.
Well, no. Well,
Anything else?
I mean, I know the prior biggest cost increase was wages.
mhm.
And if we don't do wage increases, we don't keep up with the other districts, and, everybody's hungry for teachers, and our teachers that aren't tied to here will be gone in a heartbeat because somebody else snatched them up. So we.
That's fine too. I mean, we have to compete with, Walmart and, like I say, even Sonic and McDonald's sometimes for classified folks, so that's part of it as well, so. Keep going up, that's for sure, but, yeah, we do try to be a little bit benevolent because, our maximum authority would be 8 mills in capital outlay, 33 in LOB, and we would never have any, you wouldn't have that interest as a board, and I don't have that interest as a superintendent, and I've never directed Levi to even look at that. So, anyway, appreciate the conversation, so we'll be back at this and.
Monday 8 a.m.
Will there be public comment at that meeting? We didn't really talk about it, because it's a special meeting.
Thought we were gonna do the public comment at the.
I know, but we do at other meetings. I didn't know if that would be included at this one.
We generally don't in public or in special.
In a special meeting.
But I think you make a special exception on the one on the September 8th. Though.
Yeah, okay.
Okay, moving on. Item I, bank account updates.
Levi, would you?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, so really two things. The first one is that our new health
management.
Yeah, there you go. They're asking that we have a separate bank account at GN Bank for the FSA funds, flexible spending, just to keep that clean and not mingle that with other district money, which makes sense. But we do need board approval and a motion to open that new account at GN Bank with Chelsea Carlson and myself as the two signers on the account. And then the other one, I've provided a attachment with an updated list of bank account signers. I would need a motion to approve that. Really, it's the middle school secretary position that is being changed there. So you can do it as one motion or two separate motions. It doesn't really matter, but I need both of those in that.
So this FSA, is that the same kind of FSA that a family would have?
What's the spending account?
Like for medical stuff?
Yeah.
So this is for teachers?
Any staff that's.
Any staff that's, did Alexa do an
Alexa
FSA?
benefits.
How is it
Alexa
now?
FSA.
How is that FSA handled now?
Well, it's still through the other, I don't know, Chelsea's probably the best. Levi, what do you?
Yeah. I think because it's a different company right now.
Yeah.
So I think the other company was kind of handling that
Mm.
and handling those premiums and handling those, whereas now it's kind of more us. And so we need an account to put those in. That's not
Local?
Yeah.
So it's just bookkeeping, nothing.
Yeah, that's all it is. It's just we can't open an account. They need me to show board minutes.
Well, if that's the case, I motion to approve the opening of a new bank account at GN Bank for FSA premiums and to add Doreen Olson to the list of signers on the HMS activity account and petty cash account.
I'll second that.
Motion second to accept, open a new GM bank account for FSA and change signers on the middle school account. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say no. Motion passed 6-0. Superintendent's report.
Okay, I know we do have a little last minute addition. And remember, Nurse Heather was here talking to us about the CERP. Okay, so this has to do with that. Levi, she spoke with you, it came in at the last minute, because I know she needs to have this approved. Any directions she gave you about this?
No, just that she,
Go ahead and look at that. So this is just the CERP to be on the off campus. So we already had the CERP plan for things that happen here, but as you know, if we've got kids off campus, we have a plan for that as well. So she's asking for board approval on that too. She'll turn that into the state. I'll let you take a look at it because she did not really present on this. So I'll take a minute and take a look at that. But in case of when we take AEDs with us,
Well, they have these on all the route buses.
these are, no, they don't have them on all the route buses. This would be for a way type of thing when we go somewhere. Let's say we're going on a field trip far away type of deal. We could get those. I think we're starting to build towards having those. They're about $5,000 a piece, by the way. They're about $5,000 a piece. And they're easy. Has anybody ever, I mean, you just turn them on, it tells you exactly what to do. It talks to you. It's easy as can be. And when it says step out of the way, step out of the way. You might go down next, right?
I make a motion to approve the CERP proposal.
Second. Motion second to approve the CERP proposal. All in favor, say aye. Opposed, say no. Motion passed 6-0.
And so Levi will record that so Heather can say that this was approved in board minutes. So, all right. So, Mr. White back there. Well, hey, there he is, way back there. I'm gonna let him speak with you for a few minutes. I still need to catch my breath. So let's talk about things that went on this summer. And
just wanted to review a few things that we got done this summer for you guys, and remind you of what we got. Started out at the elementary school, that north trailer that we were talking about demolishing. It is gone. They leveled out the ground. We're probably going to look at what we can do there. Maybe for now going to fence it off with some snow fence, keep people from running through there and tracking mud all over. But we'll probably plant grass, I guess, or figure out something there.
Did the nice go again, yes, also?
Say it again.
That's good.
Also, resurfacing that got done this summer. The middle school, both the north and south parking lots were patched and crack filled and then slurry coated and re-striped. And at the elementary school, we had the rough spots that we talked about in the parking lot patched in with some asphalt patch, which would allow us, if we choose to in the future, to go back and chip seal over the top of that. So those rough areas have been taken care of as best as they could. And then the playground was also crack sealed, slurry coated, and repainted. Concrete work at the elementary, we patched several spots in the playground area that were rough and trip hazard. If you all remember the little steps that are on the side that had the holes in them, those have been filled and capped. And the flagpole area, the circle, has been concreted in. And then at the very east side of the parking lot where that other spot was, we filled that into, and a little bit of curbing was done.
I was just thinking about that as I was kind of driving through the Silver Drive, checking it out. In the winter time, it might be nice to have a couple of stakes around, or like some fiberglass rods kind of stick up, because I can just see when they come in and blade, they're gonna just,
those bushes.
yeah, they're gonna bang into that concrete, and then it's gonna have more repairs to do. So I don't think those fiberglass rods that you can buy are much $1 a rod or something like that. But we could maybe just stick around there so
We
they
can
don't
work
hit
on
it,
that.
and so parents don't hit it. Because I can just
Good
see
plan.
the snow build up, 4 inches or whatever, and then you don't see that.
Yes. Yeah, no problem.
Just an idea. Sorry to interrupt.
No, you're fine. At the middle school concrete, we did that very front step right at the front doors. It was cracking and breaking. They tore that part out and poured that around that drain. So that's been taken care of. No more trap hazard there. And at the high school, the curved sidewalk around the northwest of the gym, and then the very front entrance on the west side of the gym was repoured. So no more.
Elementary school, you talked about the playground part, that was the concreted too.
Yeah, we had playground concrete.
I heard it.
There was, I think, 4 small patches and then one fairly large patch right against the building. It was deteriorated.
And the city patched that one area down at the bottom of the high school
Yeah.
parking lot.
Much better there. They concreted that one. So. Reminder that towards the end of the school year at the elementary school, we had the sewer issue. Approximately 160 foot of old clay pipe, 4-inch clay pipe we dug up and replaced with the 4-inch Schedule 40 pressure pipe and added 4 cleanouts in that. So if we do have any future problems, we got cleanouts this time.
Don't forget a quick question.
Yeah.
Going back to the concrete at the bottom.
Yes.
So there's still water that has pooled up there along the edge, and I thought maybe that, you know what I'm talking about. At the bottom of the high school there. The alternative at Morrill Avenue side entrance, the second entrance where they put the concrete in at the bottom.
Yeah.
Following with
Yeah.
Okay. So I initially had thought they might put a tube in. I was explained that there's already a drain there, but that it is clogged and it needs to be jetted.
Oh.
And I know that the city has
City
the
has a water
equipment to
jet,
do
right?
that. And I know that Brad Scott said that they would be glad to assist with that. And so I don't know where that ever went, except that I would maybe suggest if you get with Brad, see if they can do that, because it silts in, but it leads to the storm drain across the
And
street.
you're talking about the cleanout that's right at the
That-
top.
I think that's right. He would
Yeah.
know better than me, but.
That tether of that pole.
Yep.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
But there's a perforated pipe there and it silts in and then that leads to that kind of swampy effect that you get down at the bottom.
I'll call Brad tomorrow.
So just passing that one on.
Appreciate it.
Thanks for.
We looked up the grass that was replaced right there at the edge of the concrete. I don't know why, you'll see all this water there now. Rather wet for this time, but yeah. Doesn't have anywhere to go right now, but yeah.
Well, where we did the replacement of that pipe, it's all been leveled off, grass seed's been planted, and we staked it off, ready for school to start tomorrow, or Wednesday. Annex update. Of course, all the new carpet in those classrooms that are going to be used was replaced, and in the class or the area where they have the board meetings, we replaced it there because I think they're using that as a lunch area eating. Painted all 3 rooms and had LED lighting added in the classroom area where we're going to have the classes. We are getting a water dispenser added there, bringing it tomorrow because the water is not safe in the drinking fountains to drink. So we'll have that taken care of for everybody. Hiawatha High School paint on the tile. Everybody see that so far? That's awesome. Look at it. And then a reminder back at the beginning of the summer, we got the middle school generator. It was hooked back up. It's running well, doing what it should do. Kicks itself on every Friday and tests. Very happy to have that back. Hiawatha High School, we are still planning, weather permitting, getting the goals painted this week. And then the brickwork on where the bell will be sitting is supposed to be accomplished this week, weather permitting. And the LED lighting for the scoreboard has been ordered and back ordered, so we're waiting for that to come in before they can come and install those. So And at the AED seating, we've got the new chain link put underneath, got rid of this orange snow fence. And then it's been a really wet summer. We've been trying to keep up on mowing, but we know there's some areas, but we're going to try to take care of that this week. So, about all I got.
Is that something, Tim, that we need to look at either a bigger mower or, I mean, 'cause it seems like that's always a hard job when, like this spring, it was kind of the same way. It was pretty wet and then I know that there's a lot of activities at the end of the school year. And so Jeff or whoever's probably busy doing those field trips and that kind of thing. And then the mowing gets, kind of.
One of those that do get pushed back.
Yeah. So I just did what's the solution there?
We do have 2 mowers that are operational. I think they're both, 60s, yeah.
I looked at 105 or 110 up the other day just to see what one would cost. You can buy one of those for around 25. But you almost double your size and you got the same operator on there.
You wouldn't get anything by doing a belly mower on our tractor.
No.
But it's scalp the ground. They
Yeah.
don't flex as a problem.
What size was it?
105, I seen a picture of it, 110 inch deck,
Yeah,
3 sections.
yeah.
It's commercial grade mowers.
Usually by this time of year, we're not talking about, and we've got weeds because they grow regardless.
Yes.
But usually we're not talking about being behind at mowing. This is a really
We were
unusual.
behind in spring graduation was going on.
Yeah, we were behind then. That's more typical in the spring, but this time.
Because labor's hard to get,
Yeah,
and you have 2 mowers, but do you have 2 operators?
not all the time.
See, so I'm just trying to explore different options, I guess, going forward.
I just thought me being on a mower, I know how much Ford likes to see superintendent on the mower, right?
I was here for that conversation. I was not part of it.
I was.
Yeah.
I have been on it.
That's an old historical thing.
With the scoreboard, was that under warranty?
I did not see that it was.
No, we've had that thing reconditioned, but the board itself is pretty old. It's been equipped for LED and it's been reskinned. It's still.
That
It
wasn't
just got
part of the
painted
life.
the beginning of last season or time before, something like that. Yeah, but the lights come in, 'cause we replaced them.
Pod,
Yeah, they're like little, 9
digit.
9 by 9. So you just replace tiny little squares at a time. We went up there and counted them all and kind of knew exactly which ones. We had an idea how many needed replaced.
How much is a 9x9 section?
I'd have to look it up. I have the
Yeah,
video. I can't-
it's what I've done it before with
They're pretty
our maintenance guys on the,
So you don't have to place all the numbers.
Well, since it takes so
lace
long
blocks.
to get, I didn't know if it was worth just having an ace spare.
Might not be a bad idea.
Depending on how many, if he needs to order them, because they're not hard to replace. They just pull out, push right back in.
Everybody's probably has the same idea right now. Football season starting, everybody's wanting to replace it.
Any other questions?
Thank you, Tim.
I still painting does look great in the highway.
Yeah.
That's legit.
Better. I don't even miss the orange and what colors we had. I don't miss it at all. Could they paint the seats in the auditorium too, maybe?
But that didn't go all the way around.
I'm sorry. Oh, no, just really that area you would see.
The main
at the
entrance.
ball game.
Yeah,
That's so much.
it does look,
No.
it looks really good.
All right, so we had new teacher workshop last Wednesday, great group of folks here. There were 8 total, 3 of those were interlocal, and 1 was the added position of the alternative school. Great morning with them. I put in there Red Hawk Academy, we call it Red Hawk Academy. That isn't the only training that we'll have for our new teachers. We do that throughout the year. It's once a quarter anyway. We try to get them caught up on initiatives here and where they need to be with their hips and just various other things. And of course, when you're talking new teachers, there's just new learning they need to engage in. So we have that throughout the year, but that was session 1 of what we call Red Hawk Academy. Convocation, PD was last Thursday. Again, thank you two for being there. We got off to a pretty good start. They had HDEA meeting later. Of course, you know about ratification on the teacher's app. Also talked about Heather and Kristen did training for the CERT with all of our staff. So I know we have a lot of folks now that have CPR. Darren and I were in CPR class together, so we made an agreement we wouldn't keel over in front of each other. So, but we've done that, so a lot of your staff members, so I feel pretty satisfied that we are about as ready as we can be. We even, we have an AED in this building as well. So we have one everywhere. So PD was last Friday. I told you about that earlier, hips and Alice training. Work days yesterday, today were teacher work days. Fairs are back with them too. Wednesday, you have new students coming. And then Thursday is all students. So we're ready to go. Well, we're going to be here anyway. So, it's going to happen. Parent nights at the middle and high school are tomorrow. I think there's also coaches' parent meetings that night as well in those two buildings. Elementary parent night is on Wednesday. And really, that's what I have for you. Just off ready to go and get started with a great year. This year's theme is Shine On. So, two of you were there. Anybody else has questions, feel free to ask at some point. But really just a message of how do we go about, how we interact with each other, how we interact with all of our stakeholders, and that really becoming how we converse with, how we interact, the dialogues we have is really what becomes our culture.
Mr. Moser, with the return of students to the buildings, I know I'd asked about an update on the stoplight at First and Oregon. I think you talked to Brad Scott about that. Can you talk about that?
Sure. Good point. And Brad is happy to come and talk to us if we'd like to. Those plans have been submitted. The KDOT has done what they call markings on them, and I guess a marking is basically things that they have questions about or they think it needs to be different. Then once they do that, they have a certain designated allotted amount of time they have before they have to get back with you. So I'm going to editorialize here if you don't mind. It would seem like I don't feel like our city's slow playing it, but I feel like somebody else above them might be slow playing that a little bit. If you recall, we did have KDOT here. They did not seem to be in favor of anything other than the road diet that they proposed.
Do you know what that time frame is that they have?
I don't have that time frame. I can find out and get that to you. I have a better idea. I have another idea. Maybe you would like to have Brad come talk with us in September. Maybe he'll have a little bit more information then. Maybe he'll be able to give you those details about timeline and how much time they
his
have.
meeting is going to be the same time as our meeting.
That's the thing about it.
I guess I'll have him just give me that information.
Yeah. That's fine.
Yeah.
So it's in KDOT's hands. They have a certain amount of allotted time.
But I don't know what that is. To make those decisions and come back. It's like a rewriting on an architectural plan, if you will. So basically the plans have been submitted, they're making notes on things, and then they're going to get it back to the city at that point in time with commentary and things they need to see different.
It's
but they have not done that.
like Raiders of the Lost Ark at the end, being handled by top men, and they go put the Ark of the Covenant back in the warehouse.
I apologize with Billy Madison earlier. I can't quite remember that one.
Yeah. Top. All right. Yeah, thanks.
I will get information from Brad and I will let you know what I can find out. So, okay, appreciate it. Thank you.
Okay, special education. We had to postpone the meeting this last week. There wasn't enough people to have a meeting. So we're having it this Friday at 6 p.m. Are you going to make it? Okay. He just emailed those four of us up to make it. All right, executive session discuss employer-employee negotiations. In 10 minutes.
So
Okay. Move the second to the executive session for negotiation for the employer-employee. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed, say no. Motion passed 6-0.
I don't have that problem.
Discussion for 2 minutes and then any action call.
I move that we approve the master agreement for the 25-26 school year as presented.
It's been moved and second to approve the 25-26 master agreement. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say no. Motion passed 6-0. Executive session, non-elected personnel. 10 minutes.
Oh, shoot.
So moved.
Moved and second to go into executive session for 10 minutes. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say no. Motion passed 6-0.
Oh, our next meeting, the second Thursday.
Probably this Friday,
Right,
and then this, and then we'll have them the third and then the 16th. All right, we're in executive session for 10 minutes. Is there any action call? Brooklyn?
I make a motion to approve the classified and the admin wages as presented.
Sorry.
Moved and second to approve admin and classified staff wages as presented. All in favor, say aye. Opposed, say no. Motion passed 6-0.
Written heart, this is saying, written heart.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Moved and second to adjourn. All in favor, say aye. Opposed, say no.